Welcome, everyone. I'm Stefania, but as always, you can call me Steph, and this is the Miracle Mind Meetup. We meet every Wednesday online at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time to dive deeper into the principles and teachings of A Course in Miracles. If this is a book and path that has called to you and you feel the nudge or the spark to go a little deeper, you are welcome to join us here. Come as you are. This is a non-judgmental space where we join together, no matter where we are on the path with the Course in Miracles. It could be over 25 years, and it could be we don't even have the book yet. It does not matter. That is not the form, and the timing of it is not what is of significance here. The point is, if you feel the nudge, please welcome. We welcome you, and join us, and we will walk this path together and go deeper together and heal together, because that's what it's all about. So welcome. And something that's really present for me right now, as you can tell with my little stuffiness in my nose and the tea that I'm holding, is a teaching, a lesson that came up for me yesterday, actually, on my walk. I took the book with me on my walk. I generally go on a little nature walk, but I don't always have the course. This is the book for those who are unfamiliar with the book. Mine has like a little Matrix vibes on it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I think this is so cool. um, just, a little joke and reminder from Jesus, like even the book is part of it, remember? Um, anyhow, it's what I wanted to get to was this lesson, this beautiful lesson, which I also shared on my IG. I realized I didn't mention, if you want to get in touch to join the group, you can get in touch with me at @SpiritLedSteph on any social, or even awakenpedia.com, which is the space that holds and hosts these meetings, as well as others in the realm of coming to know ourselves and who we are, different practices. So, okay, back to the lesson. It is lesson 137. And literally just one that's just so powerful. I don't know if anybody has it on mind. I have it here. Here we go. When I am healed, I am not healed alone. When I am healed, I am not healed alone. Yeah. And I just want to let that sit right there. Like, what does that? And I read the whole lesson, and it was just like, how every day the course will reach you wherever you are, reach your mind and whatever you need to receive. And I'd love to, you know, just talk about it. I'm feeling to ask what that means for anyone here. When you
Mhm.
read those words or hear those words, when you're healed, you are not healed alone.
There's a part in the course that says, "Physician, heal thyself. Who else is there to heal?" We're not here to try to fix the other person. No, you need to, you're too angry. You need to study A Course in Miracles. No, I'm the one who needs to heal myself in order to be a light in the world, in order to be an example. That's it.
Hmm. Yeah, beautiful. Does anybody else have any thoughts that come up?
And piggybacking off of that, it's interesting. If I'm saying, "Oh, you're too angry," what I'm really trying to heal is my judgment that you're too angry. It's my own judgment because it's
Mhm.
my perception of a thing, not the thing. Just
That's
be.
it. Exactly. And you know what I love about what you guys are talking about? So many of us, the human mind, when talking about healing, thinks of this is how we know we've been exposed to the course. We think of sickness in the body. And I spoke of healing, and both of you came up and spoke about anger, not some sort of disease or something, right? You spoke of something that is actually behind all of the things that are showing up as symptoms in the body, and anger being one of them, right? The
hmm
attack. So yeah, and I think Andrea wanted to say something. I just wanted to point that out, but
No, I just kind of like thinking about, I think you also wrote it like in your story or something. I saw the phrase, and I think it really is like that we're all part of the same body of Christ. Like if we really look at it like from another dimension, like there's cells that are trying to heal the body, and there are cells that like for whatever reason like are making the body sick. So it's like the domino effect. Like if you heal, maybe indirectly, because not directly, because it's not about exactly like, oh, this worked for me, like you should do it too, but it's like led by example. Like people naturally, if it calls to them, will come to you and be like, hey, what are you up to? Like, what are you doing? Like, you look different, you feel different. And I feel like since we're all part of the same body, like really does affect, like it really does affect the other, and it expands more than you. I don't know exactly how it works metaphysically, but you know,
yeah, and
yeah.
the course is teaching us that we don't need to know what happens metaphysically, that we will never have full understanding because of the limited awareness that we have and the blockages that we have internally towards love, towards the truth, and towards the light of Christ, even though ultimately we don't have those blockages, right? We believe we do. We've created a system and an experience where it seems to be blocked off, and that's the dream. But I love what you're saying, because what you're seeing is something that's also very at a practical level. Like you see one person heal, let's say in whichever way, or being just more loving, or having a lot more energy, vitality, and by naturality we want to know what's going on with them. Like, what's going on? What do you do? How is that? And that is like a symbol as to how we can always affect each other. And I think Jesus is telling us actually simultaneously, like that's looks delayed in the form, but it is an example of how when we actually heal the mind, right? Like when we are accepting the atonement, when we are seeing ourselves as one with another brother who maybe in one point in time we could not see ourselves as one with, right? We only saw them as their body or whatever that is. The moment we do, there is a healing that is happening in the mind, because we are all small seeming fragments of the one mind, right? Of the one aspect of that, like one mind, different aspects of this one mind. That is what we truly are. The mind is in the background, and that's the sleeping mind. Yeah. And so it's like that he's like, once you let the light into that mind, it automatically reaches aspects of the mind. Like we can't. And that's why I love that image that I shared on IG, because it gave an image of like when we share our light with a spot, we don't know the directions in which it goes, and it blooms and it helps. We just do our part. We work on our mind, on our work, our inner healing, and that mind training, that awareness of what's coming up, and really beginning to separate the thoughts of the mind, the systems we fall into all the time, from who we are, right? Going back to that idea that we are not our thoughts. So I think that that's really, really helpful. And for those who are joining, we're just looking at the idea and the message that comes through with lesson 137, just a part of it, which is when I am healed, I am not healed alone. When I am healed, I am not healed alone. And the power within that, and what it really means to us. And yeah, yeah, just looking at that phrase, and then we're gonna go into reading a little more about it and some other things. But yeah, if anything comes up with that phrase, you know, or what it means to you at this point when we say, when I am healed, I am not healed alone, what that means.
Mm.
I have to quickly, someone is knocking on my door, so give me 1 second. If you feel to come
Mhm.
Mhm.
speak, please do. Yeah, 1 second.
Mhm. Mm. 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 Mm.
Okay.
Well, I feel that I have something to share related to this topic, actually, because I just moved into a community in the heart of Kreuzberg in Berlin with an older woman. She's 82 years old, and she's a family constellation therapist, very known in Berlin. And she has been to India 30 summers or 20 summers in a row and just singing the Indian mantras. And she had a guru called Sai Baba, and he is teaching that every spirituality, every religion is really just love, so that we have this love in common. And then we are singing these mantras, for example, Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu, which means may all living beings experience peace and joy and freedom from suffering. So we are singing these beautiful prayers together and just going really, really deep and building trust together as a community, her and her son and me. And
Mm.
yeah, I feel super grateful. Yeah, I feel like I've landed here. Oi, 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 oi. Yes. So yeah, that's beautiful, and this safety that I'm feeling is creating this possibility for the channel to open up into these ecstatic things, and I can see how I still resist that and how I really fear to open up and allow that to be expressed. And that is like maybe my biggest challenge right now in the mind is this self-hatred that comes up around allowing this full expression. And yeah, I don't know why there is so much I really hate myself when I film it, and at the same time it also feels like it's a beautiful channel to open, so, and helpful. I believe that in if I want to take it back to this topic, that if I can really open this joy and this joyful energy, that yeah, I hope I hope that it's not only for myself. I hope that it's for all. Then that will find a solution that feels like dignified and beautiful. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say.
You know, when you become aware of that darkness, you know what that is?
No.
Perfect,
Uh-huh.
because that is your opportunity to heal. In
Mm-hmm.
order to overlook, you have to look.
Mm-hmm.
You have to experience that darkness in order to make, in order to choose once again.
Mm-hmm. True.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then the guidance will be shown from when in a healed moment, in a moment of peace, then the guide will be shown like what to do specifically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for allowing me to express. And it's also funny because in this moment, for example, I also feel that I'm still too much, and it's also like, am I choosing to go into this? It's like, why is it that I cannot just like in these moments of joy? Why can I not be in the moment of joy now? Why is there emotion now that is blocking me? And that's what I really like. I just want to be stable in the joy.
Yeah, I find in my experience and a lot of people that I've met on the journey, that a lot of what comes up for us is resistance to what's coming up.
Mhm.
What, right? Like the fact that you have feelings about it, or like it's literally what Mike is saying in another way. Like it's coming up and it's perfect. It's coming up for you. It's coming up to be released. What makes it hard is the resistance to what's there, right? What makes you suffer is not allowing the pain or the emotion, or you're making judgments upon whatever is here, whatever is naturally already surging to the surface. Like if it's
Mhm.
there, it's because there's a part of you that believes something about something, and it's there to be seen, it's there to be released and be healed. But it constrains itself even more, because then there's like another aspect, the egoic interpretation of that as this is not supposed to be. I'm supposed to be beyond this, or I'm supposed to be in a better level, or whatever that even means.
Mhm.
When really the most loving and containing thing we can do is be like, oh wow, okay, this is here, this is moving through, right? This is happening at this level for me. I don't know, I might not know how, but I'm here, I sit with it. I
Uh-huh.
allow it to move through. And
Mhm.
as soon as we stop resisting, it it changes. There's no charge. It's literally the charge changes in that has been my experience. Um, Something you mentioned is actually in I wanted to it made me think of this phrase, and then I realized it's within this lesson, which is sickness is isolation. I'll say that again. Sickness is isolation. And when you were talking about this family or this woman that you came and now are staying in this community, these are beautiful symbols of what we're doing is coming together with our brothers and sisters, with the other aspects of the mind that we're one with, right? That we are already one with, but that are here to help us heal together. And there's another aspect of this where it says, healing is, I'm trying to see if it's in this part, but it says healing is not, like is never done alone.
Uh-huh.
Healing cannot exist. Healing is shared. I think that's the line. I have to see where it is, but sickness is isolation. Healing is shared. Like those are two defining factors to what healing is and what the lack of healing is.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, just going back to the aspect of what is healing exactly, right?
Uh-huh.
What is it that we're looking for
Uh-huh.
truly? Uh, and it's something that happens shared. It is shared because the mind is shared, because the mind is one, right? It can't help but be shared. If it's true healing, it will literally affect everyone, affect everything else. It will, because it'll automatically, when I am healed, I am not healed alone. It's literally in the phrase.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So maybe we can read it together. I'm going to pull that up. And if anybody has anything they want to bring that's on heart, or Anything they want to share, please do. Let me look up this.
Yes.
Right here. Here we are. When I am healed, I am not healed alone. Would anyone like to read?
I'll go ahead.
Okay, Mike.
Today's idea remains the central thought on which salvation rests. For healing is the opposite of all the world's ideas which dwell on sickness and on separate states. Sickness is a retreat from others and a shutting off of joining. It becomes a door that closes on a separate self and keeps it isolated and alone.
You can keep going, Mike. Thank you.
Sickness is isolation, for it seems to keep oneself apart from all the rest, to suffer what the others do not feel. It gives the body final power to make the separation real and keep the mind in solitary prison, split apart and held in pieces by a solid wall of sickened flesh which it cannot surmount.
Yeah.
You want me to stop there or keep
Yeah,
going?
let's stop there. Let's stop there. Let's stop there. Yeah, we have these vivid, Jesus goes into very vivid images here to really give us an idea of like what it is that's blocking our healing, truly. When we think we have, and this goes back to the idea we spoke out the other time, private minds, right? Private
Mhm.
thoughts, that only I am going through this. It becomes a door that closes on a separate self and it keeps it isolated and alone. Right? This is happening to me. It's these ideas that are intrinsic to and born from separation. The idea that we are inherently separated, which is a false idea, and that is the beginning of sickness. That is the beginning. And it's interesting because as I drink my tea here, right? I got sniffles and this thing, and I observe, and I'm like, you know, years ago, this would be me getting sick. This would be somebody getting sick. This is what it looked like, somebody getting sick, right? If they had sniffles, if they had COVID, if they had anything in the body per se, that was what sickness was linked to. And yes, we had ideas that mental health could be like there was sickness when it came to mental health, but they were extreme cases like psychosis or schizophrenia or bipolar disorders. These are all the ideas of what we consider to be sick. But Jesus is taking us to a place where he's like, no, no, no. Those are all symptoms of a sickness that lies underneath. And the sickness is believing that you're alone, believing that you are just you, that you are the persona, the personality, the body, the separate self. When really you are the mind, the light. You really, really are just, the child of God, the light of God, the Christ light. But it's the sleeping mind that's caused all of this that's born in separation. And so that bears the question, then if that is what sickness is, then what is true healing? Right? What is real healing then? Is it me feeling better from the cold? Right? Is it me noticing that my symptoms have gone and now I've healed? Is that healing?
I think for me, like the biggest piece is it's like what you're talking about, stuff is like back to the body. And a while back, I listened to David talk to someone who was really grappling with a cancer diagnosis after, studying the course for like 8+ years. And then what would people think? Like, now my body has cancer and all this stuff, and saw themselves as sick. But everything is a tool. And so no tool is better or worse, good or bad. And essentially, quote unquote, what appears to be sickness at the level of the body is just another tool. And so it doesn't matter, right? It's this, a healthy body is the same as a sick body. And the moment we believe we are separate, meaning that we're our body, then we go into those stories like you're talking. Like right now, Steph, you could be like, I'm getting sick because I'm an individual, and that's what individual bodies look like. And same for the lady like with the cancer, and she, oh my gosh, I'm getting sick, my mind must not be healed because it's projecting out. Because I think that's another misinterpretation that often happens, is because we want to know the why, right? So then all of a sudden you have these concepts of the course where everything is a projection, and all of a sudden, like Steph, you're projected sick, you could be like, oh my gosh, I'm not healed, like my mind isn't where I thought it was. But really it's only that because you're viewing it from that aspect, instead of it's just like same, like doesn't matter. Yeah. And like, we're not healed alone, because truth is not alone. There is no alone. Like, there is no one and one and one and one. There's just one. So like, when you're a healed mind can't see separation. And I remember a long time ago thinking like, Buddhism was written based on people viewing the Buddha. Ram Dass, a lot of his followers and stuff share his message based on what they saw of him. A lot of people share David's message based on what they see of David. But it's like, you could, or even Jesus, you could go to them when they're in this state of healing where we're all one. All they see is everybody healed because they're healed. And they're like, hey, should we not eat on Sundays? And like, they don't even see the ego in it because they're in this state of just healing. And they're like, sure, that's what it is. That's how we got this way. So it's like viewing through the ego and then asking the question of the healed, quote unquote, mind that appears at the level of form. And then it gets like misconstrued, because you can't, when you're in the healed mind, no one is sick. You can't even hear something sick because you're just in this state of everything, like just oneness. Like the sickness doesn't exist. An untrue thought doesn't exist. An untrue statement, an untrue whatever no longer exists when you're in that state. So I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent, but I think when you're really in the oneness, you can't see the separation at all.
I think that's so beautiful. Yes, Ash. Like, it's like it's like really entering the full atonement. You just really, everything is one. Everything is perfectly perfect as it is. And you cannot, like you said, you cannot identify sickness. You don't have the capacity to, because it's not even part of the state of that awareness. And I think that we access that state more and more. This is the path of the course, is to begin to access that state more and more, to begin to understand what that even looks like, and to notice also all the places where we've misinterpreted ourselves or the path or what is really being shown, in efforts to, I don't know, seem more spiritual or make a personality upon something that is actually trying to get rid of all personalities or all, personas in an ultimate sense, but also uses what the personality believes in, also uses for the script of the undoing. So it's not this black and white thing like, oh, either you're because that's just another egoic interpretation of like, oh, well, I guess if I see a sickness everywhere, then I'm just, I'm not healed clearly, and I don't know how to do this. Or it's no, it's literally whatever your path is goes revealing itself. Like whatever is meant for you to find along the way so that the light enters more and more and more, and then it becomes this clearer and clearer path. And also more peaceful path, more understanding path, more restful path. Yeah. I'm also going off, but I love that. And I remember that story that David shares of when he went into a group and the lady comes after years and years of being with the course. And this is what I want to go, and that's why it goes so perfect with this. We go deeper into the course, but then we gain sort of a new identity, right? We're starting to be like, oh, I'm a course student, or I'm a course teacher, or I follow the course, or I'm just spiritual now, whatever that new identity seems to be. And, the Spirit's really teaching us to try to release these identities, but it will use it if it's useful on your path so that you can release. Because if any identity and any identity from what you really are will bring guilt, will bring up something. And so we come to discover that's what it did for this person. And we can all, relate to that in the sense of like, oh, wow, she's been with the course and now look at me, what am I going to tell my family? I've been following the course and telling them that healing is in the mind this whole time. And now look at me, I've got cancer. Right? And Jesus is really saying, actually, you don't really have cancer, but okay, let's talk about that. Let's work with that. Who you believe you are is experiencing, the body is showing signs of. And ultimately, like you said, it is a medium, a tool that will be used for your awakening, for your release, bringing you closer to in unity to your brothers, helping you watch your mind, letting the guilt come up, all of it being used for us. I love that.
I think that's where people get caught up, like being used for us. Like we've been taught so much, through connection with the universe or God in different religions or modalities, that there needs to be an outcome at the level of form, right? Like New Age manifestation,
right?
Church praying to God for something, and then you don't get it, so then it's shameful. And I was telling my friend that story about when the guy was like, oh, I can buy you pizza now. And I had like no money. And I was like, it was like this miracle. And she's like, oh, so what happened the next day? Because our mind is so taught, like, oh, then all of your money came in. I was like, well, actually nothing, other than I had a newfound realization that this is not my script. I just have to trust. And it still took 4 years for me to pay off my debt and get to a place of kind of stability. But we're so ingrained that it's like it needs to change the form immediately, period. So like right now, Steph, like with you being quote unquote sick at the level of form, they're like, well, okay, well, you practice Course in Miracles, so somewhere you're holding on to something and you need to go like rectify yourself and let it go so that you can then be healed. And I think that's where we get caught up in the judgment and looking back on, the past and taking past experiences. And the beauty of the healing is in the present moment when we're all one. So there's never a look back. So earlier, Jonas brought up, or Edgar brought up feeling, shame and guilt essentially about how he was showing up in the world still, and like this fear and this holding back. And it's just because it's a reflection, it's a looking glass looking back. If you just act in the moment and constantly just stay in that moment, you never see the past moment. So there's no judgment ever to happen. And you can't judge if you know that we're one, right? There's nothing to judge. other than nothing. Like literally nothing to judge when we're one, because you have to be like an outsider to judge. Like you have to be separate in order to judge. So yeah, I think that's where we get caught up.
Thank you. That's super helpful.
Mhm. Yeah, super helpful and super clear about like at the core, what is it that we're mistaking? What is it that we're misinterpreting or missing the point on? And it always comes down to a belief in a certain outcome, and that outcome will determine whether we are healed, whether we are what we say we are, what we believe, what we're saying, what we're preaching, what we're trying to discover, all this. And that's why I think that this lesson is so powerful. When I am healed, I am not healed alone, because it brings in the question, what is true healing? Right? And what comes to the mind when we talk about healing and when we talk about sickness? And I don't think it's any coincidence that I have these sniffles or this, literally, I went for a walk and I just started, and this opened up and I wasn't feeling anything. And then now between the walk, it was yesterday, because that's when I took the picture, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing. Between that and today, man, just like sneeze attacks and like and I will share that it's so interesting how immediately, at least I can say for myself in this experience, I can see how quickly the mind goes to look for a cause. Well, what was it? Well, maybe it was Ari's dad was here. Maybe he was sick and he brought, or Ari was coughing. And I'm like, wow, look at, you immediately begin to see how the mind starts searching for a cause, searching for something to blame, to project onto, and to make sense of something that just is here, that this is part of the experience. It's part of the theater. Yes, Soma.
I had a phone call, but when Ashley was speaking, it had me thinking that the body belongs to us, but it's not what we are. So yeah, the body's going to get sick, because you're talking about, because we think, what's wrong, I must not be living my spiritual life if I'm if I'm going through this, but it really has nothing to do with that. The body is, it's something that belongs to us, and we take care of it as best we can. But spirit is not something that needs to be taken care of. It's what we are. It's what we are. And that needs no care. That needs no healing. That needs no tea. It has no sniffles. Spirit doesn't do all of that. So people pray for someone who's sick, and the doctor is giving them what we consider the worst notice ever, and then they pass, and they think that God didn't answer the prayer. But it had nothing to do with spirit. Spirit continues. It's in a state of grace forever. The healing, there is nothing to be healed. It's just the truth to be revealed. And that's for us to hear, for that mind, for us, that the small m mind, to get a grip. Like Stefania was saying, getting a grip. I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that, and thinking the other. And as she's talking about it now, like, okay, yeah. And my favorite 5 words: stop, 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 stop. That's what I do. But that's the whole thing. As you were saying, Ash, or you were talking, Ashley, I thought, wait, I understand. It's spirit is what we are. And we can make that separation when we realize, I don't mean separation that way, when we're able to distinguish between what we are and what we have in terms of something given to us to take care of, it's 2 totally different things. Because when I go to sleep at night, I don't think about, oh, let's see, I have to lay on my left side, or I'm going to lay this way, or I'm going to dream about whatever. None of that. None of that. It's just doing what it's doing, and it comes naturally, and it comes naturally. Spirit is in a state of grace forever. That's what the Course teaches us. And the body is not. I'm complete.
Yeah, sorry, just to piggyback on Soma. I love, yeah, you just said two phrases that really stuck with me. Like, there's nothing to be healed. It's for the truth to be revealed. Like, that's such uh an amazing realization where it's like there's nothing, everything happens for our betterment. Everything is always happening um for our highest purpose, even if we can't fathom it in the moment.
Mm.
I think that's why Steph went like when we were talking and I was like asking her about the metaphysics of the course at the beginning, she was telling me like there's gurus, like really like spirit, like very people that have like been like in this pathway for very long and they've gotten sick in the body and it's always like I think or what I'm getting from it, it's like when you truly heal is when you just accept what is without judgment. It's like this is happening. I trust God, I trust universe that this is happening for my evolution, for my betterment. And what better way for or example, I was watching The Chosen the other day, like Jesus' story,
Mm.
and I don't remember his name, but there's like a follower, and he's like limping, and he's like, God, Jesus, why do you do all these miracles and heal all these people, and I'm your follower, and you haven't healed me? Like, I don't understand. And Jesus was like, what better example for you to have this condition and still choose to follow me? And it's like, oh my God, like that's amazing, you know? Like we see so many things with our human eyes, but when we're able to see them spiritually and and surrender, I feel like that's true healing. You're you know, you go beyond the body, you go beyond the mind and you just accept and trust and surrender. Yeah.
Beautiful, Andrea. Yeah, that's the gist of it right there. Like that's it. You like, I mean, and that story with I believe it's James. Um, and it's so beautiful. And that's a perfect example of like, you know, Jesus is really teaching us in the course that healing is in the mind. Healing is in the mind. The body may reflect it as a reflection, and it may not. That is not for us to expect, know, think about, figure out. That is not the point because the body is not who we are. The body is part of the past. The body comes from what's been given and continues to like sort of the expression of separation. Not to minimize the body or say the body is a bad thing or anything like that. It's literally, it's just what it is. He's saying this is what it is, right? So please don't take it so seriously. The whole thing you need to focus on with me is the mind. Let everything else be. Let everything else be. And when in doubt, you know, pray upon it, surrender on it, like call to spirit. When darkness comes up, let it move through. That's part of what is here. But outcomes is a really big, letting go of outcomes is a huge, huge part of what the course is trying to teach us. And that includes the body, like it includes a situation, like it includes a relationship. It's just no order of difficulty. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. That means there is no hierarchy of illusions. That means it affects everything equally, right? So, what a beautiful revelation that you've come to share with us because that's it. That's it.
And I think so. I love that you brought that episode up. That's like one of my favorites. That was my favorite video to do. I did a bunch of reaction videos on The Chosen in how they relate to A Course in Miracles, because it's so beautifully done. Oh, I love it. Anyway, so it's just such a reminder again that the body is like the ego, like it's a poof of nothingness, right? At the end of the day, and it's only when it's viewed, it's only an obstacle. And I think of moments like I've done psychedelics, I've smoked pot in my days. I've also entered flow state just naturally. And the body literally doesn't exist when you're in those places. It's like gone. Like when I'm swimming, like I'm not swimming. Like I'm just this like thing going back and forth in the water. So it's like if that can be, but then it exists, then how is either even true, right? So it's like we don't ever question these moments. Instead, we're like, oh, it's just an out of body experience. Well, you're never in your body except for when that's what you choose to experience in that moment, is to be the body, to be what it is. So I love that you brought that up, because that's really what Jesus was telling him, is like, you're not a body, and you're showing that. You're showing that
Yes.
to everyone. And I think it's in the Course. Mike will know this, I think. But I think literally Jesus addresses that in the Course and says, whoever, essentially, I'm going to botch the wording, but essentially, whoever finds this Course, you no longer need signs and wonders, right? Like, I'm not here to bring more signs and wonders, magic, AKA, but it's time to set the magic aside. And there was people at a period of time that needed that. And that was back then, right? Like, to really start to get people to see a different way than what they had read in the Old Testament. And then, he comes and brings the New Testament. And then my understanding of a section, way butchered it, Mike, in the Course, I believe, or maybe it's David's discussion, is that Jesus makes it clear, like, we don't need that anymore. It's time to give up your magic. And he even talks to Helen about that, because she goes on this magical thing of like making sure she gets a certain pen. And he's like, what do you want, miracles or magic? Like, we're no longer here for magic. We're here for miracles. And that's what the Course does. It allows you to get to the place of miracles, no longer magic. And I think that's really what, he was telling him in that moment, is like, okay, you're a true example of an actual miracle. The other ones are the body's interpretation of what a miracle should look like, but it's actually magic.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think Steph mentioned last class, and she was like, miracles happen in the mind. Like, a true miracle is when you change perceptions, when in that moment something clicks, or something resonates, and you're like, ah, like, I see the truth. Like, oh my God, like you awaken from the ego, you awaken from the shadows, and it dissolves, and you're like, wow, like, I am living an illusion. I'm living in a dream, and and just everything starts to align, and you go beyond the body and the ego, and you're just like, wow, like, literally the mind is so powerful. When you change a perception, like, everything changes, right? The world changes, and that's how powerful it is. And yeah, like, I don't think, I mean, the out of body experience, like, I have experienced like the flow state and everything. And I just think it's a constant evolution, because like I'm a very, like, I ask a lot of questions. Like, I'm a very, like, curious and sometimes, like, intense. And I always want to understand everything, and everything has to make sense. I'm like, why does this and why does that? And I think the miracle of that is just kind of like, I don't have to get I don't have to get it to believe. I don't have to get it to trust. And because it's not in me. Like, when I try to trust, or when I try to understand things, then my ego will be like, oh, it's because you got it, right? It's because you're intelligent. It's because, and it's like, no, like, it's like, no, like, it's because I surrendered. And in that moment, I let God guide me. And that's when you're like, oh, it's not about me. It's not up to me. It's bigger than Andrea. It's bigger than me. And I think that that's like the true miracle, when you truly are able to just see everything in your mind as not true. Like, everything is not true, literally. And that's when you're able to see yourself as you are, which is like which is, yeah, which is just beyond. And it's just like the one mind. And you become humble, because I think that's what it is. Like, you humble yourself, and you're like, I'm nothing. Like it's God. Like everything is God, you know? So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Andrea. Hmm.
So I chuckle because that was totally me, and that's how I found my way to the course, is because I didn't believe anything. Like I got kicked out of class, I got kicked out of college class because I asked questions. I'm like, if it doesn't make sense, I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna ask more and more questions. And the disappearance of the universe, when I found that book, was like I didn't have questions. I was like, oh, these are all the answers, which of course led me to A Course in Miracles. And I think for me, having that heart of curiosity and questioning, I still like Steph, like it sometimes causes prickling with Steph and I, because that it still comes through me if as Ashley the body, right? But like I don't know how to explain to her that actually inside I don't really care if I know this, but this is just what Ashley the body is doing right now. And I think the biggest piece with that is because truth can never be understood or explained. Even though we're having this group, it's great. We're just sparking remembrance. We're not trying to understand or explain.
Hmm.
But it's so hard because we're using the body. So it's like this. But that has been my biggest learning, is like, oh, wait for those moments like you were talking about that you feel it, right? And then I can't even explain to you what the heck I just felt, because it's truth, and truth can't be explained or understood. But for me, it was like a big hurdle, and a huge part has been with Steph too, of like her just expressing and then still showing love and us moving through that together. Because as much as I know these things, like I don't need to understand or this or that, the body that is Ashley is still doing that. Even though my mind may be at peace, that's still what the body Ashley is presenting at in this moment. So my challenge has been true, like forgiveness of Ashley, forgiveness of where she's, and that she's still questioning, oh my God, you and Steph have this conversation and you know it pisses her off. Why are you saying, like those narratives, and allowing those to move through, and giving the body that is Ashley grace, and the observer knowingness of like, okay, we can experience something different here in this moment. I don't know if that makes sense, but I know for me that was like is still a huge grappling, because I'm like, why? We know we don't need to understand this. Why are you asking those questions? Why are you saying those things?
Hmm. I love that, because you're bringing in just like, you're really bringing in like the two aspects of what is going on for us. And for so much of our lives, we just think it's one thing. But what's your that separation is beginning to become more clarified. And when we say like, oh, Ashley, the body or the personality, like, and it's the awareness behind, it's the light of the mind that's like, I'm already in peace. This honestly, none of all these details make no difference, you know? But then Ashley in her way, in her personality, in everything that's built up from the past way of dealing with up until now, and that includes the body and the actions and stuff like that, it begins to, just show up in the way it is. And I love how you said, and it's forgiving that. There's a forgiveness, right? Like it's forgiving Ashley and forgiving Steph and these personas, or the things that are just an accumulation of past, which is, um, and that's something that's also become more and more like clear to me, that like you said, Ash, and I love the way you said it, like it's the looking glass. The looking glass is the glass of the past. And we can only look through the looking glass when we're like self-analyzing, looking back at a moment. If we're in the moment, we can't even look through a glass, because we're pristine right here. That this is all there is. And that's the thing with the body and it's like it's I find that is I'm trying to see what I'm trying to say here, but it's like really coming to decipher what is that we're doing through the looking glass, and what is that's coming from this pristine moment, from this like present, pure, no past here, right? Just openness and the choose again, the choice that brings you into an experience like, for example, that Andrea, that miracle mind, that moment of revelation, that like it clicks, something shifts in the mind. And that can only happen in the present, like it's just happening in the moment. So yeah, I put the book on I think a lot of us are familiar with the disappearance of the universe, but it was also a very big step for me. I used it after, actually. Disappearance of the universe was when I felt a little stuck in the course and trying to really grasp forgiveness. The disappearance of the universe helped me there, and then it took me even further, like it just so I definitely recommend it if you have an openness to reading that as well.
And I would recommend personally to not buy the physical book and read it, but to listen to it on Audible, because it's like, we used to call it fireside chat. If you know, that's way back in the day when my great grandparents would sit around the thing and listen. But it's a conversation between three people and they use three different voices. So it's literally like, it's like listening to a movie. It's so good. And it's like 15 hours long.
It's true. It's so funny. I say that I read it, but what I did was hear the audio because I'm a mom and I would just read it. I would just read it. I would hear it in the car all the time. And so that was my way of reading it. But yes. Wow, it's 10:30, so we're coming up on, I mean, it is the hour now, but I thought maybe we could close out with a little bit more of this part here, going to what healing is. Let me share that screen again. Where is it here? If anybody feels to read, we'll read 8 and 9.
I can read it.
Okay.
Healing is freedom, for it demonstrates that dreams will not prevail against the truth. Healing is shared, and by this attribute, it proves that laws unlike the ones which hold that sickness is inevitable are more potent than their sickly opposites. Healing is strength, for by its gentle hand is weakness overcome, and minds that were walled off within a body free to join with other minds to be forever strong. Healing, forgiveness, and the glad exchange of all the world of sorrow for a world where sadness cannot enter are the means by which the Holy Spirit urges you to follow him. His gentle lessons teach how easily salvation can be yours, how little practice you need undertake to let his laws replace the ones you made to hold yourself a prisoner to death. His life becomes your own as you extend the little help he asks in freeing you from everything that ever caused you pain.
Could you read one more, Ash? I feel like.
And as you let yourself be healed, you see all those around you, or who cross your mind, or whom you touch, or those who seem to have no contact with you, healed along with you. Perhaps you will not recognize them at all, nor realize how great you're offering to all the world when you let healing come to you. But you are never healed alone. And legions upon legions will receive the gift that you receive when you are healed.
Beautiful.
Keep going.
Whoosh.
Whoosh. Yeah, that's right.
Whoosh. Whoosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Amen.
Do you feel to keep reading, Ash?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can if
go
you
ahead.
guys. Okay.
Almost closing, yeah. This is
Those who are healed become the instruments of healing, nor does time elapse between the instant they are healed and all the grace of healing it is given them to give. What is opposed to God does not exist, and who accepts it not within his mind becomes a haven where the weary can remain to rest. For here is truth bestowed, and here are all illusions brought to truth. Would you not offer shelter to God's will? You but invite yourself to be at home. I'm going to say that again. You but invite yourself to be at home. And can this invitation be refused? Can you refuse your invitation? Ask the inevitable to occur, and you will never fail. The other choice is but to ask what cannot be to be, and this cannot succeed. Today we ask that only truth will occupy our minds, that thoughts of healing will this day go forth from what is healed to what must yet be healed, aware they will both occur as one.
Might as well. Might as well.
We will remember as the hour strikes, our function is to let our minds be healed, that we may carry healing to the world, exchanging curse for blessing, pain for joy, and separation for the peace of God. Is not a minute of the hour worth the giving to receive a gift like this? Is not a little time a small expense to offer for the gift of everything? Yet must we be prepared for such a gift. And so we will begin the day with this and give 10 minutes to these thoughts, with which we will conclude today at night as well.
And let's read it. We'll close on this thought.
You want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. When I am healed, I am not healed alone. And I would share my healing with the world, that sickness may be banished from the mind of God's one Son, who is my only self.
That sickness may be banished from the mind. Sickness, mind. Where is the sickness? Mind. That it may be banished from the mind of God's one Son, who is my only self. That is the self that we are, the mind of that one Son. And therefore we can never be healed alone if true healing is to occur. Beautiful. Thank you for that reading, Ash. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I was going to say, if anybody else has anything on heart before we close this session.
I just wanted to highlight, yet must we be prepared for such a gift? That's what the Course in Miracles is doing. It's just preparing us. Like the gift is already like, here's your gift.
We're like,
but
no.
we're like, oh crap. Oh, what is that? What is that? Oh, let me look. I'm not sure. I don't know.
A little too bright. It's a little too bright. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel
but at any given moment, we're prepared. So.
Yeah, I feel like it's like I don't know if it was Socrates or Plato's analogy of the cave, and it's like the light is there, the openness is always there, but it's your choice. I feel like the only choice that we have at every given moment is to choose the light, is to choose the truth. That the healing is moment by moment. It's thought by thought, you know, and it's crazy that we're so scared of the light, like something that our spirit knows is true healing, but our ego is terrified, right? Because it's dissolving moment. It's when it's going to dissolve. So it's like, no, Like, how am I going to dissolve? Like, how am I going to be a human being in this world? Like, like, how am I going to function or whatever? And all these fears come up, and it's like, it's those same fears that if we let go are totally going to be like our liberation. But it's just like, it's just programming. It's just like unprogramming and undoing. Because I feel like every time it's not about learning, it's about unlearning and undoing, because our spirit already knows the whole truth. So it's just like our minds have to catch up, I guess.
Hello. I want to honor, if you want to close the meeting soon, I want to honor that. But I just felt guided to offer to play a mantra called "Help Me Open My Heart," and because for me, this hour that we have spent now has been such a beautiful moving through the deepest heaviness and into such a joy now of safety of being with you. And I have a little bit fear of being too much, like, oh, I don't want to take more space in the group of all of that. And I also honor, if we feel to close the group now, then just say goodbye. But I just wanted to share what was there.
Thank you, Jonas. I'm happy if you can play like a minute or two. I would love to hear the mantra and receive. And if anybody has to go, that's okay too. Whatever feels appropriate for anybody on. And before you do that, I just wanted to go back to what Andrea was saying to add to this, that this idea of that, more and more in each moment, we're choosing light. And many times we can get confused to choosing what the light is. And I think the real choice is the surrender to what is in the moment, right? The surrender to what's showing up, because sometimes the darkness will come up. And if we're thinking that the darkness is not the light, and therefore if we leave it to come up and we fight it, we're now resisting it because we didn't choose the light. Rather, we let ourselves be taken by the darkness. And the darkness is just the shadows, the past, the ego, the traumas, the wounds, the belief systems that need to come out to be purified. That's all they are. And so I think it's so important to that light of forgiveness, that light of Christ welcomes the darkness because it sees the darkness as nothingness. It lets it move through, it lets it. And so it's always like, it's, for me, something that's been very helpful is it's a step in humility to whatever's showing up for me, whether it's amazingly exciting and fun and there's like passion and stuff behind it, or it feels dark and gloomy and restless and there's anxiety behind it. Both are there to be welcomed and contained. And that allows, again, for that separation from the character to the true self with a capital S that it's talking about here. That self with a capital S, which is the only self we truly are. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, just really quick before Jonas puts the mantra. Yeah, thank you. Like, thank you. Thank you, because that also reminds me that it isn't up to me, that it's not me who's correcting my thoughts and perceptions. It's literally releasing when I realize a wrong thought, a wrong perception that's maybe taking me away from surrender, because I guess the ultimate choice is surrender or resist, right? So when I surrender, it's like I'm letting go, I'm giving my thoughts to Christ, to Christ consciousness, to the Holy Spirit for that to be corrected, right? Because I realize it's not bringing me peace, but it's not up to me. It's not up to Andrea. Like, Andrea can't do anything like in her power, right? So yeah, thank you for that clarification. Yeah.
Love you, of course.
All right.
All right.
Time?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Help me open my heart so I can hold all that I need to hold. Help me open my heart so I can know all that I need to know. Help me open my heart so I can hold all that I need to hold. Help me open my heart so I can hold all that I need to hold. Help me open my heart so I can feel all that I need to feel. Help me open my heart so I can heal all that I need to heal. Help me open my heart so I can smile all that I need to smile. Help me open my heart so I can breathe while I'm here for a while.
Thank you, Jonas. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Wow. Thank you for
Thank you.
blessing us with that. That was
Thank
so
you so
beautiful.
much. My pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank
Well,
you.
I-
Bless you
you.
all. Go off. Open your hearts. Use this mantra in your heart. I love it. So we can heal what we need to heal. Love you all. Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye.